Okay, we are going to do metric conversions. Metric conversions uh, can be easy if you do the correct process. Uh, the process you should avoid is that decimal moving process, and I'll show you that in a second. Uh, I know you probably have learned that in the past, and it's an easy way to convert from, you know, kilometers to meters, or back to, or kilograms to grams. But there's a more intellectual way to do that, and a more proper way to do these conversions, so that when you run into a conversion like this, you'll know how to properly convert that, because this is not as simple as moving the decimal place. So, uh, one thing you need to familiarize yourself with is the prefix and what it means, okay, or what the multiplier is, or what its exponential value is. So let's take, for example, kilo. Kilo stands for 1,000, or 10 to the third. So what's a kilogram? A kilogram is 1,000 grams, right? It's a kilogram, 1,000 grams. Or another way to write that is a 10 to the third grams. Uh, let's look at the smaller examples. So let's look at milli, because we're used to milli. Milli's a familiar one. A millimeter. What's a millimeter? Uh, well, milli stands for 1,000th of a meter. Okay, 1,000th of a meter. So 0.001 meters is a millimeter, or 10 to the negative third meters. That's what this chart is saying. So you want to familiarize yourself with this table. Uh, Probably, you can probably stop at peta and maybe like femto. Uh, in between there, you should familiarize yourself with and and know these. You don't necessarily have to memorize them, but if you should memorize between kilo and milli. You should be pretty familiar between kilo and milli. Even mega to millimeter, or mega to micrometer is, you know, a good thing to have memorized. So let's do some conversions. So I have 5.05 kilometers to meters, and I know that a lot of you are just going to go, oh, 1, 2, 3, move the decimal place over, and you know it's 5,050 meters. But let's take a look at a better way to do this. First step is to write down what you're converting from. So 5.05 kilometers gets written down, and we can put that over 1. Uh, and then we're going to multiply it by our conversion rate. And what our conversion rate uh, is we're going to convert from meters to kilometers. So what you're converting from is kilometers. That gets put on the bottom so that it will cancel out. And meters is what I'm converting to, so that goes up top. And then I say to myself, okay, well, what's 1 kilometer? Okay, well, kilo stands for 1,000, so some people will write 1,000 in there. I like to work with scientific notation because it becomes easier with more complex operations. So what's a kilometer? It's 10 to the third meters. This is a kilometer. Okay, so you're really just multiplying by this rate. Okay, Uh, and if we take that, we know that kilometers cancels out. The only unit I'm left with is meters. And I'm going to multiply my tops. 5.05 times 10 to the third is 5. 5.05 times 10 to the third. And the unit that's left over up top is meters. Multiply the bottoms. 1 times 1 is 1. There are no units on the bottom. I'm left with this top part because anything divided by 1 is itself. So final answer is 5.05 times 10 to the third meters. So easy one, right? Now let's do something a little more complex. So we're going to go from milligrams to kilograms. And I already have a number in scientific notation. You can choose to take it out of scientific notation and do the conversion that way, and then move your decimal point. But let's try the simple method. First, we're going to write down what we're converting from. 9.805 times 10 to the fifth milligrams, and we're going to convert. So milligrams will go on the bottom so that it can cancel out. And I want to convert 2 kilograms, but if I look back at my chart, I don't have a milligram to kilogram conversion. Okay, all these conversion rates go to the base unit. So if I look back, okay, well, why don't I just convert to the base unit and then convert to the unit that I want? So I can go from milligrams to grams quite simply by saying, oh, well, a milligram is 10 to the negative 3, right? 10 to the negative 3 grams, milligram. Uh, Real quick, I know a lot of you are probably saying, well, can't I just do it with grams and there's 1,000 milligrams in a gram? Well, yes, you can, but I'm going to show you how simple it can be with scientific notation. So you're free to go ahead with this route, but I'm going to show you a simpler way, in my opinion. So now I've got grams to milligrams. I know the milligrams is going to cancel out. And then I want to go from grams to my final unit, the unit that I want, kilograms, to kilograms, right? And 1 kilogram is 1,000 grams, or 10 to the third grams. Now, if we recall from the scientific notation video, when we're multiplying or dividing, we can just add or subtract our units as necessary. Our exponents as necessary. So 10 to the fifth times a 10 to the negative third is going to give me a 10 to the second, okay? And we got 9.805 times 10 to the second on the top. Milligrams is canceling out, grams is canceling out. The unit I'm left with is kilograms up top. Kilograms up top, and multiply the bottoms. 1 times, this would have been 1 milligram is 10 to the negative third grams. So 1 times 1 times 10 to the third gives me 10 to the third on bottom. There's no units on the bottom left over, so the only units I have kilogram. That's great. Now let's finish this. If I divide powers of 10, 10 to the second over 10 to the third leaves me with 10. So I have 9.805. Excuse me, leaves me with 10 to the negative 1. And I just rewrite my number, 9.805. My unit is kilograms. And there's my answer. Now, I wouldn't leave this as 10 to the negative 1, because as we know from before, That's not correct scientific notation. We would move the decimal place over, and we'd get 0.9805 kilograms. Now, I strongly urge you to work on doing your conversions in the metric fashion in this in this way, uh, because when we get to squared conversions and cubed conversions and rates, you're going to be thankful that you know this method. That's it for this video. I'm going to do a part 2 with squared conversions and rates.